Hi, this is Suhailah. This is Grow With Me by Suhailah, the podcast. And this is season 2, episode 10. And the name of this episode is Hold the New Reality. Hold the New Reality. Let's get into it. So, I wasn't going to do a full episode this month at all. It's August. I have a lot going on, moving around a lot, traveling, etc., etc. But I came across and I thought about this clip I did back in 2023 or 2022 under my Awaken the Brand platform. So my Awaken the Brand platform, I call it a platform, but it's the way that I approach my work. And I say it's brand development meets personal development powered by spiritual intelligence. I really just want to say it's spiritual development because I don't separate the person from the brand, from the spiritual. It's all one thing. But that's how I've started to define it years ago when I created it. And I have a course, I have a book, I had a masterclass, all of these things. And someone asked me a question, and I think that question is really relevant, but that video is only 1 minute and 31 seconds, that audio. So my father used to say, build your own generator so when they turn out the power, you still have lights. My father used to say that. I don't think I knew what it meant as I came into my own entrepreneurship and when I was transitioning from working for other people to working for myself. I'm always working for other people. I'm a service-based business, but I mean, when I was a full-time employee for other people and then was transitioning into my own business, of course, you start to understand, I'm about to build my own generator. So when they turn out the power, I'm about to have lights because I'm not dealing with corporate America and all of these old ways of doing things that do not serve this new way and this new being that I am becoming and embodying. So I understood it on that level, which is the obvious, but also there's an internal building of your own generator. There's internal building of your own generator. And it encompasses so much. It is so nuanced. It is no one way. There is no one way that we all get there. There is no one method that we all can take there. There is no identical step that we all take to get there. But it encompasses, and at the end, what you find is that you have capacity. You have capacity to hold everything that you want. And everything that you do not know is coming. Because being an entrepreneur and being a builder of anything, it takes capacity. It's unpredictable. It's often uncertain, but there is a stability that we are able to establish within ourselves if we do what I consider to be healing work. And it bothers me that there's just so little words in the English or any vocabulary to say what I mean. And healing often implies that something was broken to some people or just was not functioning properly. And that is part of it, but it's not something to be ashamed about. If we are born into this world that we are born into, the moment that we come out of our mother's womb, it is a traumatic moment. Just imagine what that must be like for that brand new baby being inside this comforting, beautiful place that is our mother's womb that most of us don't remember. And then you are just, here. You're here. You come out, whether you came through a C-section, when you came out of the vagina, the lady parts, you are entering into a world suddenly that's completely opposite of where you just were. There's lights, there's these things called people, and in the form of doctors and nurses and equipment and loudness, and just no wonder when we come out, we cry. or they want us to cry. That's kind of poignant, and it's kind of ironic that they slap our butts or whatever they do to make us cry, to make sure we're alive. They slap our butts so we can cry, so they can make sure we are alive. Just think about that. That's pretty much how life happens. And that's how trauma forms. And that is what trauma is. We get our butt slapped all the time so we can cry, so we can know that we are alive, but there's nothing the matter with it. There's nothing wrong with this. So when I say healing, I just wish there was a better word. You know, we use these words healer and trauma and wounded, and it just feels like we're in this constant struggle to fix ourselves, like we are just so inadequate. And then we have a religion and other things and forms of identity that also make us feel like we are less than, but we are more than enough. We're more than enough. And the fact that my father used to say, build your own generator, so when they turn out the power, you still have lights, that is testament that we are more than enough, because that means the ability is within us to do that. And that ability comes from a source greater than any of us can understand, but it's the source that created everything that we are seeing and everything that we are living in and on, including this planet that we call planet Earth, who is a sentient being. Planet Earth is a sentient being, it's a living, breathing thing. So right now, we are in the creative economy. We are in the creator economy. So I thought that what my father said, and I thought this clip, this 1 minute, 30-second Q&A that I did, it was longer, but I just cut out the one part that I'm going to post as a part of this podcast episode. But it's so relevant right now, the question and answer, because the question to me was, what are the obstacles that the unexpected, what's the most unexpected sort of obstacle that I bump into when I'm dealing with clients? I have a brand and marketing consulting firm that Awaken the Brand, my other platform, lives inside of. It's all business development, it's all brand development, and I deal one-on-one with clients, large, big brands, but also more and more in the past few years, directly with founders, startup founders, creative founders, tech founders, just people who own their own businesses. So I consider that smaller entities, smaller in size, not in vision and idea. So the question was, what is the obstacle the most surprising thing that I find when dealing with clients? I just wanted to say that right now it's so important to do the healing work. I'm really impressed. I know a few women that I know, top of their field in TV and film, in entertainment, in design, in just creative fields, in straight up what we consider more traditional business fields, who are deciding something is the matter. Like, I'm here, I have all the things, I have the office, I have the car, I have the friends, the vacation, the money. There's something inside of me that I'm hitting a wall inside of me. They are able to say that, I'm paraphrasing and I'm using that generally, but I've had at least 2 women, 3 or 4 in the past month, really come to me and say they're using words that I understand, and I guess they know I understand, which is why they're coming to me, but it's very specific to trauma. Like, I feel dissociated in my work, or I feel anger and I don't know why, and I feel rage and I feel overwhelmed. Just words that I know and they know I know, which is why they're probably coming to me in confidence in private. Like, I need help. Literally, I need help. And it's just been amazing. I've been sending them to my healer, Kim, who I have talked about in several episodes of this podcast for the past 2 seasons, this one included. This is being season 2. And I also can point them to this podcast and things that I've spoken about, because I have had my own journey where I know what that feels like. To come up against something invisible, what it feels, you know, it's invisible. You cannot see it. You cannot touch it, but you know that there's something inside of you that just, what is going on here? Why can't I get past this thing, past this cycle, past this pattern, break free so I can be and become and do all the things I know that God has in store for me? I see people saying that they have said it to me, they are doing the healing, and I am so impressed by whatever is going on, which I consider awakening. The awakening to this reality is not what we think it is. What we think we are here for is not what we think we are here for. Yes, all of these bells and whistles and material things are important to living a human life, money and just access and opportunity, but it's so much more than that, and it starts with us. And we are in the creator economy right now. There is a solopreneur wave an entrepreneur wave. Everybody is starting something. Everyone is building something. And there are numbers that back it up. I remember during the pandemic, I was filing a few trademarks for work that I do and work that I was going to do. So I engaged an attorney. My attorney was helping me, and there was a process that was supposed to take, I don't know, say 3 months, 6 months. So I had time. We all had time. It was the pandemic. So I asked him to start that process. And well after the pandemic, or not well after, but well into it, when it was dying down and the world was opening back up, I still hadn't gotten the response from the United States Trademark Office. And that was his job, the attorney, to facilitate that communication. And if it took 3 months, this was 2 years. So in the beginning, if he said like, oh, this is going to take 3 months, 6 months, whatever it was like 2 years later or 18 months later. And I remember him telling me that the reason why it was delayed was because more people filed trademarks than any other time in, I guess, United States history, or whatever it was too much for our government to handle, the United States office to handle. It was unprecedented, is the point. So I was like, to me as an entrepreneur, and at the time I was also writing my book, Awaken the Brand, I'm like, this is what I'm doing this for. I'm ready to meet these people when they do this thing. The trademarks, their logos, because most people, when they think about brand, they're thinking about the external visual brand only. It's not that. It's not that. And this is what my work, Awaken the Brand, is about. It's not only that. It's the expression of it. It's kind of like going back to what I said in the beginning. Yeah, a baby came out of a mother, but what was the process that had to make that baby happen, right? We know what that process was, not only with her and the father, the mother and the father, but what she had to go through over those 40 weeks of gestation and bringing that baby to life in the trimesters that she needed to do that. It's the same thing with building a brand. It's not just the external expression that you see as a logo and a website and the product. It's so much that goes into it. So much of my work takes people 10, 15, 20 steps back and thinking like, hey, before you do this, let's think about this. What are we creating here? It's like a pot. You're stirring it, and like then it becomes expressed as all of these things. Website, logo, product, all of these things, right? So I was excited I was pissed off. Well, I wasn't pissed off, but I was annoyed because the answers I needed about this trademark were taking 10 times longer than they should have, at least 5 times longer. But it was like, oh my God, this is an exciting time. That many people filed trademarks? Wow, like this is perfect time to write my book, because I'm going to be in here in service of these people when they start to realize that their business is not just a logo or a website, or even the service, right? Or even the product. So I did a little research, and it said that not only then, and that was, I don't know when that was, if the pandemic started 2020, maybe it was that year, maybe it was the next year. It could have been 2022. I don't remember. But in 2025 alone, there were 5.62 million new business applications filed in this country. And that was up from the year prior. It was 5.2 million. So it's way above the historical average. 2023 was actually the highest year on record for new businesses at the time. It was over 5.4 million. And even now, we're running at nearly 48% higher than pre-pandemic levels. So this is not a blip. This is not a glitch. This is the way the world is going. This is real. It's a sustained shift in how many people are stepping into building something of their own. And I also did a podcast episode on that. It was the end of last year, Born to Build, about my own journey, which is super unique. I didn't wake up one day and I didn't go to business school. I didn't do anything formally. My whole life led me here, right? So when I read those numbers that I just researched, when I was thinking about what my attorney had told me back during the pandemic, at that time, trademarks had jumped over 60% in a single year, and wait times more than doubled because the office simply couldn't keep up with how many people were trying to protect what they were building. So this is an exciting time. This is such an exciting time, but I do not want people to discount how important healing is when you're building something. I know it is super exciting to get a new idea, to be like, I want to do this thing. I have an idea. Nobody's done this before, which Almost always somebody has done it before, but I firmly believe in finding new ways to do old things, or also that multiple people can be doing the same thing in their unique, different way. There's value in that. Everybody doesn't resonate with everybody. There's somebody who would come to me for the kind of work that I do, which is unique. I have a very unique way of approaching it because I am unique as an individual. So the way I approach things is unique. And I think that's the case for most of us, as long as we are not trying to copy the next person and do what we perceive that they are doing. I don't think that ever works. And I don't think it's sustainable because it's not true to who you are. We're not being true to who we are when we just keep following trends. We see this person on Instagram doing this. Let's do exactly what they're doing. Even if you had success or greater success, if it didn't really come from your heart and soul and spirit, if it wasn't driven by a higher place, a higher calling, you're usually not going to feel too fulfilled in that after a while. Yeah, maybe the money may be coming in. You could flex a little bit. I'm a boss. I'm doing this. But I'm here for fulfillment. I'm here to be authentic. I am here to do what God put in my heart to do. I am here to step into my calling. I can't say whether we all have a calling. I know I do. I have a calling on my life. So I don't know what that feels like in everybody. Even the people who I know are purpose-driven and mission-driven. Are we feeling and describing the same thing when we say that? I have no idea, but I'm here for it. And I'm here for the people who believe that they are here for something. And that something is bigger than just serving themselves. But it also includes serving themselves. And serving yourself means to start taking care of yourself, your healing, your trauma, your wounds. It's not enough just to be self-aware. It's not. I see it all the time. People, founders I work with, they know I procrastinate. I get afraid to spend money. I get afraid to make hires, to hire people. I'm afraid to make the wrong decision. I am afraid I'm not good enough. I am afraid I'm not smart enough. I am afraid I'm not this. Or some people do not allow themselves to be vulnerable enough, to be honest enough with themselves to even start with, I'm afraid. But that's usually what is happening, even if it looks like anger. It's fear there. There is fear. Fear is the biggest thing that has been marketed in all of history, as far as I'm concerned. It is the biggest brand. Fear is the biggest brand. And no matter how we come about understanding what's happening with us, whether we can use the word I'm afraid or not, whether we can be vulnerable enough to even say to ourselves, I'm afraid, and use the word afraid, or I'm fearful. It doesn't matter the language, but some people can't even say that. They don't even know that that's the underlying thing. And I believe that fear is the biggest brand of all time. Fear is the thing that has been marketed to us since the beginning of time. And we are stuck in that. And it shows up in our nervous system. And whether you can name it or not doesn't matter. There's no shame. And if you are just on the other side of that and you can't be that vulnerable, or you don't want to be that vulnerable, or you don't believe that you're fearful, it doesn't matter. The words don't matter. It could be anger. It could be rage. I'm angry I can't do this thing. I'm pissed off that I didn't have the opportunity. I'm mad that I didn't get the chances that other people have gotten. All of these things can be true. Some of it can be trauma related. Some of it cannot be trauma related. Some of it could be identity related. Some of it cannot be identity related. It does not matter. We are children of God. There is something much bigger than all of this. Even the people that we think are in control, that are in physical form. I don't mean like angels and guides and God. I mean like even that. So if we just tap into that and just know that it's us and us, at the end of the day, it's me and me. It's me and me. The only obstacle is me. The only obstacle, when all of these things are considered, is okay, I have this information. It's like being giving. So I am a believer when I go to doctors, and I've had my share of health ailments, serious ones. You can give me the diagnosis, but you cannot give me the prognosis. You can say you have A, B, or C. It's not up to you to say how this is going to affect my life or how much time I have to live because of it. I am a big believer in that. Give me the information. Give me the information. Okay, now let me take that information and do what I know that I could do with it. And I have made what other people would consider miracles happen because I do not believe what other people tell me that needs to be believed. So when it comes to identity, the very real things that we have been stopped from doing in this country, in this world, whether because we're women, whether it's because we're people of color, whether it's because we're men, whether it's because we're something else entirely, whether it's because of the way we identify from a gender standpoint, the way we identify, period. That could all be true. That is a diagnosis, but we get to decide the prognosis. And part of the prognosis, how much life we have to live as humans, right? But also how much life we have to live. How much life we have to live. How much we want to put into life. That is for us. Only we can decide what that prognosis is. And that comes with capacity. That comes with understanding. Get the information and then do something about it. And that's where healing work is. That's what healing work is. Whatever you want to call it. You don't have to go into it like I'm broken. I don't care. Language just gets in the way, but you know it, you could feel it. But mostly you could see it in your life. What is going on with my business? What is, even if you don't have your own business, I'm leading these teams. How come I keep having the same patterns? How come I keep hiring people where I think they're bullying me or ganging up on me or they're talking about me? Or after a while, it's like, okay, what's going on here? Where's the common denominator? Only me. And what do I need to do about that? We got to come to our own conclusions about this. And we have to get sick of our own selves enough to do something about it. And that's what healing work is. So right now, like I said, we are in the creator economy. We are building, or people are creating at least. But I want to take it to and help people actually build, not just think of a new idea and do a website and then that's it. They don't even know anything else about what it takes to run a business, to have the infrastructure of a business, because they haven't taken the time to create the infrastructure inside of themselves to have the capacity to hold what they are trying to build. So when my father said, build your own generator, so when they turn off the power, you still have lights. That's the internal part as well. The internal part. Because the lights will go out all around you. There will be the news scaring you. There will be people who work for you scaring you, who don't want to do things, scaring you in terms of, why did I hire that person? Or what are they doing? Or there's so many things. You'll have vendors and partners as a business owner and an entrepreneur and a solopreneur. The lights will go out. The lights will go out. I did another podcast episode on this a couple episodes ago about you have to fly that plane anyway. You have to fly your plane anyway, no matter what is going on around you. So when the lights go out around you, you need to have the light inside of you so you can be a lighthouse. So just do what you do and light up and do that thing. The lighthouse gives other people orientation as to where they are. It's not just lighting up the dark. It lets people know where they are in relation to where they're trying to go. A lighthouse stays steady. A lighthouse does not move. So if we are the lighthouse in the form of our business and we want to attract people to it, but we also want to orient people who are working with and for us, we have to hold steady, and we have to do that in a work. And I think that now, this is not an episode only for women, but most of the people who have been talking, no, actually there have been a couple men too, about knowing that they need to heal and face certain things. But women are a huge part of this wave of new businesses, is my point. And women now own over 40% of all businesses in this country, the United States of America. And that number grew almost twice as fast as businesses owned by men over the last few years. So in 2024, women started almost half of all new businesses, up from, I think it said under a third just 5 years prior, if I am remembering correctly. So that is the fastest growth ever recorded. And here's the thing though, right? Underneath all of this data and numbers that look impressive, as women are starting to step into their power and get from up under the patriarchy, we have to also not lead from the patriarchy. So there's such thing as internalizing the patriarchy. Patriarchy is not something that men only do. Actually, I feel like men are getting better at it because the world's foot is on their neck so hard that they have to be mindful. Even if they don't believe it and they don't want to, they at least know, okay, I got to follow these rules and procedures when I'm working. Where women don't realize, so many of them I'm saying them because I'm not going to say us because I don't want to include myself in it. But they don't realize that they lead from these places too. So they are building, even in a woman's body, you are building what is the same thing as what the patriarchy has already built. So besides that, not every one of those applications, these millions of applications that I just talked about, become real businesses. So there's other ways to track that. But I think most people don't know how to build something that they can sustain and that can really function as a business. And again, I think because they have not built the capacity inside of themselves to sustain or to function properly, not even their own lives and other relationships outside of business. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. A lot of times people come to me, like I said, they ask me, I need help, literally. It's just so impressive that people, and admirable, and, you know, I've come across my healing and the need for it just because of my own sense of suffering. Like, I'm not with this shit. Whatever this is and wherever this came from, please help me, somebody. But I don't think, I just knew there's something inside of me that guided me, I don't know what, to books and things and yoga and meditation. And I've had a spiritual father who pointed me in the right direction. I don't think I've actually had to use the words in the beginning of my journey, I need help. I just knew I did. And I just did everything I could to find what that was. I don't even know that I knew what I was looking for. It was one pain at a time, one sense of suffering at a time, one lost relationship, one fumbled relationship, one job that I hated, or that it was one thing at a time that was like, I want to break free of all of this. What is this? Like being caught in a web of your own design, but you don't realize it at first, right? So it's not so simple, but I'm trying to use my words to just help, because people come to me literally, and actually, I didn't just decide to start this podcast because I said, oh, Suhailah, let me give people something that they're not asking for. People actually come to me for this all the time, probably because I share so much of my journey just naturally. Maybe I'm somebody people feel they could trust. You know, they know I've been there before. So I love that. But, you know, when people ask, you know, everybody can't go to my healer, Kim. She doesn't have the capacity, and she also doesn't take everybody, because she also wants to make sure people are serious about what they're trying to do for their own life. She's not a savior. So I have other people I have also referred people to over the years, and nobody taught me any of this. You know, I didn't have a Sherpa. Like I said, my own pain, my own quote unquote dysfunction, my own suffering is what made me start seeking. Nobody handed me a map. I built it by going through it. I built myself by going through it. Thank God I had the father that I had that said these things that just seemed so, I don't even know. They always felt important because my father felt important. He did it. My father was a no-nonsense man. So he wasn't a clown. And even when we were younger, we could kind of like look at our parents like, what are they talking about? In different kind of ways, right? As you get older, you might realize my parents didn't know what the hell they were talking about. My father was not that. He was not that. And even as a younger person, I knew he was not that. So even when he said these things, if I dismissed them, it was more because I was annoyed. Like, oh God, I don't want to hear this anymore. Or maybe I was listening intently. I just didn't know what they meant. But now I know what they meant. So I'm glad I had a father like him. I just want to offer people help because they come to me. I want to offer just what I know to the extent that I know it, which is not everything. And it's not most things. But, you know, there are ways that people can start on this healing journey. You don't have to wait until you're in a crisis the way I have so many times and the way so many people have, whether that's a health crisis, a financial crisis, just a life crisis. You don't have to wait for that. And as we're building our businesses, I just want us to really know that they go hand in hand with building the capacity inside of ourselves to do the thing that we say we want to do and to be able to hold it and sustain it, not only so that we can continue to have fulfilling lives and feel like we are contributing to humanity and contributing to this planet, but we're serving other people, and then we're leaving something behind, right? Whether it's a model or mirror, like mirroring for others what this looks like, even if we can only take it but so far. Our ancestors can only take things from so far. No matter who you are, they could only take it but so far. So it's our job to take that baton and take it further, even if that means, again, finding new ways to do old things, because maybe some of the old ways didn't work. And I firmly believe that when it comes to how we build businesses and brands. So again, I did 4 episodes if you want a place to start, which is internal healing and just how to look at it, starting with trauma on some level. I did 4 episodes last July with my healer, Kim, and it was 1 episode. It became 4 for the whole month of July. So you can go back and look at those, listen to those 4 as a starting place. And that's where I talk about a lot of what I'm talking about here in terms of how do people even begin, right? And Kim was very good. The audio on that is a little crappy, but you'll get the point. So that's a place to start. I always like to offer tools and different episodes of this podcast. I talk about these things, values and building and boundaries and where all of this thinking comes from in me. And I usually am talking about it because it's upon me. Usually something is upon me and I'm like, ooh, let me talk about this. So those are just entry points if they're helpful into this work. If you want to start there. And I just also want to say, this is my belief. I am not a therapist. I am not a trained professional when it comes to mental health, but I do believe that talk therapy helps, but I believe that it is only a small piece of the puzzle. I do not believe that talk therapy alone is healing. I just don't. It gives you language, it gives you insight, it gives you a witness, which is most important. It provides a safe space for someone to witness and hear sometimes things we are saying for the very first time, or sometimes things we are saying not for the first time, but nobody believed us or heard us or wanted to hear it. So talk therapy, I think, is valuable depending on, just as valuable, but it's only as valuable as you're willing to be vulnerable. And then also depending on the therapist. So if you do have trauma, I do recommend you look for a trauma-informed therapist. Not all therapists are created equally. So, and they didn't study the same things when it comes to specialty. So you want to find someone who's trauma informed if you are dealing with actual real trauma. But otherwise, I do believe that talk therapy across the board is only a piece of the puzzle. I do not believe it's healing. What I am describing is healing, because awareness alone is not healing. And understanding why you do something is not the same as actually releasing it from your body and your life. And healing releases things. You want to release it. Trauma is stored in our body. These things in these places that we operate from, that it's beyond just being able to talk about it. You are rewiring your brain and so your body. So you need more than talking about it. So if you want some place to start, there's those episodes that I just talked about with Kim. And there's a few books that I've liked over the years and I've heard other people like. The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. It keeps you present in the present moment. I got the wrong version. My friend referred this to me. This is so long ago, my God. And I had a car accident. And then I had one friend who died by suicide. And I was just going through a tough time. And I had gotten laid off. There were some layoffs when I was in the music industry. And it was just a lot going on at that time. It was my first and only time losing a job. And in that way. And he told me to get The Power of Now, but I got the wrong version. I got the smaller, practical, how to apply it. It's a smaller hard copy. The original one is really thick and big, but The Power of Now, you can look at either version of those by Eckhart Tolle. Wishes Fulfilled by Wayne Dyer, and A Return to Love by Marianne Williamson. I also always like anything Abraham Hicks. I know most people come across Abraham because they want to learn how to manifest, quote unquote, attract, the law of attraction and all of these things. But what I like about Abraham's work is the emotional scales that they try to help you understand the difference, what it looks like to walk yourself up or down the emotional scales, whether it's from hopelessness and despair to joy. And even though it's not in the context of healing, healing is feeling. So to me, when you get into your emotional state, even if you have to start as a foundational tool, a gateway drug, if you will, with just learning how to manifest. So much of learning how to manifest is feeling the feeling of the life you envision, acting as if. So even though it's not, the approach of that work is not about healing and things like that. To me, feeling is so important in everything we do, feeling it. So just getting into the habit of feeling how you feel, even if it's for the purposes of manifesting, quote unquote, or just attracting and creating your life, that is a good start for so many ways. And just also the nature of reality, because even though all of this stuff is very complicated or sounds like it and nuanced, it really is very simple. So it just goes back to what my father said. We're just trying to build our own generators so when they turn out the power, we still have lights. And that starts from inside of us, the power inside of us. And that's what I'm here for. That's what all my work is here for. So with that being said, I'm going to play this little clip. And until the next episode.
What's one of the out of the ordinary subjects that you may find yourself having to address with your clients when building their brand?
That you must be able to create an inward version of self that can hold the outward version of who you say you want to become, what you say you want, and what you're stepping into. You have to build the capacity to hold the new reality together, or things will fall apart, or they'll never get started, or they'll just stay at a standstill. It is some of the hardest work we'll ever do, but we have to be emotionally and mentally capable of holding our new realities. That's the new vision for our lives, our business, and our brands. And just like in every other area of our life, even in business, we often can't do this without addressing the wounded parts of ourselves, the unhealed parts of ourselves. Awareness alone is not healing, so it's not enough to say, I know I procrastinate, or I'm always late to meetings, or I need things to be perfect. Coming from an unhealed place, one or all three of these things will have us self-sabotaging our business, our brands, our lives, the people who are here to help us, the people that we are meant to serve and that depend on us. So I find that it's really important that when we hit that inner resistance, which we will, whenever we are stepping into creating and building the thing we say we want, 9 times out of 10, the resistance will come from within. So it's important that we make the time and find the safe spaces to understand, purge, process, release, and feel, not necessarily in that order, but in the name of healing, in order that we might step into the bigness, the fullness, the greatness of who we are, why we are on this planet, what we came to do, what we say we want. Thank you for listening. If you are interested in journeying with me a little bit further or a little bit longer, there are a few ways that you can do that. One of the ways is my leadership course. It is called Feminine Leadership, Leading from the Inside Out. It is a mini course. It is self-guided. It is soft. It is gentle. It is easy. You can do it anywhere. It's a PDF. You can download it. It is not the traditional leadership language mumbo jumbo. It's not heavy hitting. It's not heavy, it's not heady, and it's easy to download, and it's on Gumroad. So wherever you are listening to this podcast, whether you're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Podcasts, wherever you are, in every episode you will see an episode description. Beneath the description, down below, but before you get to my bio, which is all the way at the bottom, between those two areas, you will see a bunch of links. Amongst those links is the link for Feminine Leadership, Leading from the Inside Out. You can click there. It will take you to Gumroad, and you can download it right now. It's priced at $37. Quick and simple, easy, breezy. If you're interested, check it out. I also have a book, Awaken the Brand by Suhailah, Unleash Your Personal Potential Through Building Your Brand. I like to say this book is personal development meets brand development, powered by spiritual intelligence. So whether you have an actual business brand or just a personal brand that's also a business, or just a personal brand that's just you, I define a brand as a promise. So whatever that is for you, it does not have to be a business that is a business where you are generating money or trying to generate money. It's just about how we show up in the world through our businesses, through our brand. I'm really using brand as a path to higher consciousness. That's really what it is. I'm using business and brand as a path to higher consciousness. I use that word because it's something that everybody understands, but it really literally is also a business and brand book. So have however you want to look at it, however you're approaching it, whether it's for yourself personal, whether it's for yourself because you actually have a personal brand like you're a public speaker, or whether you're a thought leader and you actually are building a personal brand, or that is your business, or whether you have an actual product service brand. It's for everybody. So you can also check that down below. I have another course. It's also called Awaken the Brand. It's what the book came from. The course came first, the book came second. So you can check that out below. That's on Teachable and Gumroad as well. And then I have a newsletter called Spark by Suhailah, and it is on Substack. Those are all of my offerings. If you're interested in any of them, you will find them below. Have a wonderful day. Sending you light and love.